Well, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us here on a KTN News Desk on the 16th day of March 2017, just a day after the President delivered the State of the Nation address. But there are things he didn't mention. There's a drought challenge in this country. There was no mention of the food security. We will be having that conversation here with a food security expert. Stay tuned for that. Our sign language interpreter is William Sila, and I am Akisa Andera. Good afternoon. Now, Wiper Movement Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka is at the moment handing over his party's presidential nomination papers to the party's elections board. The event is currently taking place at the party headquarters here in Nairobi, and we understand that he's just finished handing over his papers for the nomination. Our reporter Mrimi Mwangi is there. He will be joining us in a bit, but those are live pictures we are bringing you from the Wiper Democratic offices in Lavington here in Nairobi. Kalonzo Musyoka, who is the NASA co-principal, has just finished handing over his papers for the presidential nomination, of course, for the ticket of Wiper Party. Remember, this comes at a time where there's a lot of word on who really will be the flag bearer for NASA, but currently he's acting as a capacity of the party leader for Wiper. They will just be addressing the press in a bit, flanked by, of course, the Secretary General of Wiper, Hassan Omar, and other members of the party. There's a lot of confidence, of course, from the party that Kalonzo Musyoka will be named the flag bearer, but that definitely is the feeling with those at Ford Kenya, with Moses Wetangula, from the Amani National Coalition with Musalia Mudavadi, as well as ODM with Raila Odinga. We'll definitely be going there live to just listen into what they have to say, and some questions asked on what are some of the things that we are hearing, that if they don't get the ticket, they will bolt out. He will be clarifying some of those issues. Remember, I mentioned that our reporter, Mrimi Mwangi, is there. He will also be giving us details. Kalonzo Musyoka there, and other flanked by other members of the Wiper Democratic Party. He's just finished presenting his papers for nomination for the presidential seat come August 8th. We can see Kivuda Kibwana there. There are various members, Hassan Omar, but he's speaking. Let's cross over there and listen in.
Mrs. Agatha Solitei and our team for giving me this clearance form following my successful presentation of the papers. And I also want to thank the party team which is here. This was, I think, convened, not a very short notice, but I think the Secretariat did send out some messaging. I will be doing it today. And therefore I want to thank all the friends who have come. Wiper Democratic Movement is actually growing in leaps and bounds. I'll mention that at the next stage. But for now, I want to say that my presentation, I think, does erode the first major step towards hopefully clinching the NASA presidential candidature. I know there have been bloggers out there saying that Wiper is doing it alone. That is far from the truth. We are in NASA to stay. And so my colleagues, I'm sure, will be doing a similar thing. Now, the first major step is I've been given the go-ahead by my own party. So that is why we are here today. And I would therefore be going out to NASA limping if I didn't get this clearance. So now I feel energized. I feel that I can now face the world after this. Because, as I said, the charity begins at home. So this is very important for me to mention, kwamba hii ni hatua ya kwanza, na tuna matarajio makubwa kwamba tukielekea mbele Mungu atatujalia tupate basi kibali cha National Super Alliance. Hatua hii haimaanishi kwamba Wiper inaenda kivyake. Kufanya vita vya kisiasa na Jubilee. Kwa hivyo ni lazima hiyo ieleweke jameni, naomba kwamba ieleweke wazi kwamba hatuko hapa kutangaza kwamba sisi tutaelekea moja kwa moja hadi IEBC. Ingawaji kwa sababu mimi kama mwanasheria and we have senior lawyers like Professor Kibwana here, wanaweza akakuelezeeni kwamba yule ambaye atakuwa anabeba bendera ya muungano wetu wa NASA itambidi apeleke nomination paper ya chama chake, kwa sababu NASA sio kama tulivyofanya 2002 kama NARC. NARC ilikuwa imesajiliwa kama chama. NASA haijasajiliwa kama chama, imesajiliwa kama muungano, a coalition, and that is the difference. Na kwa hivyo wakati mimi niliungana na ndugu yangu Raila nikawa mgombea mwenza wa urais, yeye alipeana makaratasi kama presidential candidate wa ODM. So this is a clear distinction. Na kwa hivyo mimi mgombea mwenza nilikuja na chama cha Wiper Democratic Movement. So hieleweke wazi basi kwamba hii ni hatua ya umuhimu kabisa, kwa sababu nikipatiwa uwezo huo wa kwamba Wiper sasa safari hii ndio itapeana presidential candidate, basi lazima stakabadhi hizi na kila kitu hapa ambacho tumefanya kipelekwe mbele kwa IEBC. Kwa hivyo ni hatua yenye umuhimu mkubwa, kwa sababu ni kama kufanya riaso. Kama niko na ID kama nilizaliwa mahali nasema nimezaliwa, mimi si mtu ambaye ametoka nchi nyingine kuja hapa kutafuta uongozi wa nchi, kwa sababu katiba inakataa mambo hayo. Kwa hivyo nadhani ni hatua yenye umuhimu kabisa na kwamba imeeleweka. Sisi tuna mpangilio kuendelea na shughuli zetu za kuhamasisha wananchi wa Kenya katika pembe zote za nchi yetu juu ya umuhimu wa muungano wa NASA, na hata sasa tunafanya tunatumaini kwamba weekend yenyewe itakuwa na kikao kingine cha wenzangu. Ndugu yetu Raila ako nje kwa sasa, lakini mimi na Weta na Mudavadi tutapanga vile tutaendelea wakati huu, huku tukimtakia msichana Rosemary uponyaji wa haraka. Amina. Kwa hivyo basi hiyo tu ndio, that's what I wanted to say, and I hope it does clarify the situation. Let me recognize some of the senior people who are joining the party. As I said, is growing in leaps and bounds. Pale mnamuona mama anaitwa Priscilla Munga. Huyo ni mama tayari, in my view, kwa sababu ametoka Kilifi County, alikuwa na mgombea mwenza hapa Mama Gertrude, ambaye sasa mimi nitafanya recommendation kali sana kwa NEC, kwa sababu yule alikuwa vice chair wa Wiper Democratic Movement. Mama Halima aliama pamoja na Governor Dado. So we are going to recommend that Mama Gertrude achukue nafasi hiyo mara moja, because there are 4 vice chair. You know, Secretary General, that's my recommendation. You're going to look at it. Yeah. Kwa sababu wamefanya, we said there are 3 ways of getting to a candidature. One is by consensus, which is what has happened here. Hawa kina mama wawili wakakamavu wakakubaliana yule asonge kama Wiper Democratic Movement candidate wa Kilifi County Women Rep, na huyu mama akakubali kwamba yeye atamsaidia, and you can see the result of consultation. Tunaendelea vile na consultation between professors.
NASA co-principal Kalonzo Musyoka there, after giving out his papers or delivering his papers for nomination to the Wiper Democratic Party Elections Board, but he clarifies that they are in NASA to stay, and he expects his other co-principals to do the same, present their papers to their respective party election boards. And of course, on the way forward, they will tell us who will be the flag bearer for the Super Alliance. Now, embattled Auditor General Edward Ouko has said that he will not leave office despite the petition that has been filed against him. He says there's nothing to hide for him. He defended his decision to file a legal suit challenging the petition against him, saying it was because the process was unfair. All right, let's now speak to our reporter Patrick Amimo, beg your pardon, he is joining us from our city centre studio. Thank you very much, Patrick. The Auditor General is seen as coming out guns blazing this time round. Is he going to survive this?
Thank you, Akisa. I would say the Auditor General is the man under siege currently. He's facing a petition that seeks to remove him from office, filed by one lawyer, petitioner Emmanuel Magambo. Magambo has put across various allegations which the Auditor General has dismissed as malicious. And we saw in court Tuesday this week, the courts issued conservatory orders stopping the National Assembly Finance and Trade Committee from continuing here any further hearings until the case filed before it is heard and determined. There are two cases, one by Okio Mutata, which will be coming for mention and hearing on April 10th, and the one that was filed by the Auditor General and whose conservatory orders were issued by Justice George Odunga, and the hearing will be on May 10th. So this matter, they say, according to the lawyer Omolo, Otiende Amolo, he says they are right because the process before the National Assembly is unfair and they want to seek justice. And they are saying that government, the House sitting as a quasi-judicial body, the court has a right to stop its proceedings if they feel that the process is not fair. And earlier on, we had at least the Auditor General and his lawyer speak on the matter, and given just to see that this afternoon the Speaker is going to make a ruling on whether the House committee should continue with the petition or not, but the lawyer says that conservatory orders must be obeyed. But prior to that, they had something, the auditor spoke and his lawyer, and just let's have a look at what they had to say.
Patrick, there are many allegations that have been leveled against the Auditor General. What are some of the things he's said to defend himself?
The Auditor General, there's something to do with the purchase of an audit vault software system which was worth 100.6 million shillings. The petitioner and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission claimed that that software was worth 18 million shillings. So they say that the cost was inflated. But the Auditor General insists and maintains that the vault software system was worth 100.6 million shillings, and it was meant to assist his office get real-time tracking of the IFMI system. It was to act as a counter monitoring measures to ensure that there is no misappropriation of funds at both the national level and the county level. That's why they had to get this top-notch software from Oracle Software at a cost of 100.6 million shillings, and not 18 million shillings as is being claimed by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission or the petitioner Emmanuel Mwagona, as he says in his papers. And it's this particular allegation that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission wanted the Auditor General prosecuted over, but then the Director of Public Prosecution said that there was no sufficient evidence to warrant the prosecution of the Auditor General. But he's a junior, the Deputy Auditor General in charge of corporate affairs, and other employees, about 8 other employees, are facing prosecution. So it is a matter that is it's a matter that is before the court with regard to the purchase of the audit vault system, but then the Auditor General was left off the hook, and he says his dealings on the matter was clean and he did not involve himself in any procurement irregularities.
All right, Patrick, let's just listen
to what
the...
That's why I said that we have had...
Yeah. Yes, Patrick? All right,
That's why I said that the Auditor General spoke a few hours ago. Let's listen to him and see how he goes about it.
All right.
The petitioner alleges that the Auditor General has violated Leadership and Integrity Act by employing persons belonging to one ethnic group, more so in Corporate Services Department and in the recruitment of the audit associates, thereby engaging in nepotism, favoritism, contrary to Article 73(2)(b) of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. However, in response to this allegation, I wish to state that I am aware the office has observed diversity and incorporates 23 ethnicities in its 1,273 employment workforce. Of this, the highest representation are of Kikuyu extraction, of 481, representing 32% of my staff. Before a year, 2 years or so back, this ethnic community was at 42% of the staff. The issue of 361, because I singled that out and I said I'm going to court for this malicious allegation. Ochieng Oduol, if I know him, maybe we've just met somewhere, but I do not know Ochieng Oduol. I've not dealt with Ochieng Oduol as a person in any business contact. I do not know even this company, Weston, and that's why I'm extremely hurt about this allegation. And I wished that that's why we pressed for this petitioner to take what we call oath. Yes, in giving this, so that I can have a leeway. A petitioner cannot go and claim something like this. So I'm concerned.
The Constitution in Article 251 is very clear. Any state officer can be removed from office for gross violation of the Constitution, serious violation of the Constitution, or gross misconduct. But for the committee or parliament to consider that petition, the person petitioning must start by claiming that you have committed a serious violation or you have committed gross misconduct. The Court of Appeal in the Wambora case was very clear on that, and the laws and Parliament itself, through a communication by the Speaker, gave guidance on that issue. And the Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Justin Muturi, directed that before such a petition is considered, there must be an allegation that there's been a serious violation of the Constitution or gross misconduct. In this case, forget about the proof, there is no allegation.
Right, Amimo, quickly, before I let you go, what are some of the likely outcomes from what we expect from the Speaker?
The Speaker is expected to deliver his ruling this afternoon, because on Tuesday, the chairperson of the Finance, Planning and Trade Committee went to him and sought a way out on how they'll go after the courts barred them from further hearings until the matter is determined by the courts. And contempt of court is a very serious matter. That's why they wanted to seek a ruling from the Speaker. And the Speaker says he'll give his ruling. But given from the debate that went on in the House on Tuesday, even the lawyer for the Auditor General fears that maybe the Speaker might decide that the matter has to continue. But then he says, should they go that way, the court orders are very specific. They say that no matter it's put a stop to any hearings, and Parliament should not even discuss it on the floor of the House, where the committee to proceed and present its report to the House. And even if Parliament was to go ahead and say a tribunal be formed, then the court orders are very clear that the tribunal should not be formed. So it's like the court orders have barred any process, and then he says it will be an exercise in futility. So it's better they let the court process go on until then Parliament can come in, because Parliament is not legislating. It's sitting as a quasi-judicial body whose procedure can be questioned if it's not fair to any petitioner, according to the Fair Administrative Act that was passed by the National Assembly late last year. Akisa.
All right, Patrick, thank you very much for that update. Patrick Amimo, our senior parliamentary reporter there, with an update on the latest on the petition to oust Auditor General Edward Ouko. Let's now head over to Nyeri, where Deputy President William Ruto currently is and has gone with goodies for the dairy farmers there. He's given out about 59 million shillings, but let's just cross over there and take a look at what Ruto has for the farmers there.
Itaendelea kweli? So tupange mambo mzuri. Tuko pamoja jameni, watu wa Nyeri. Kwa hivyo tuendelee namna hiyo na tutachunga mambo yenu. Tutahakikisha ya kwamba hakuna mambo inaenda kombo kwa Kenya hii, kwa sababu tunataka Wakenya wote wafaidike kama ndugu moja. Kwa hivyo asanteni sana, mimi nimefurahi kufika hapa na nitarudi tena na tena na tena. Sawa sawa. Basi mimi nataka tufanye hiyo kazi nyingine ambayo imetuleta hapa. Yeah, Haya. Haya, wapi wazee wa Kiganjo? Ndio yao. Ya factory ya Kiganjo ni milioni 20,181,181,000. Bari baba. Haya. Asante sana. Sasa senti itaingia kwa account. itafanyika kesho ama kesho kutwa. Wapi watu wa Rinyenje?
All right, Deputy President William Ruto there live from Nyeri County, currently distributing checks amounting to 59 million shillings to dairy farmers in Nyeri County, of course, from different constituencies. And of course, that is what we are bringing you live from there. Farmers in Nyeri looking very jubilant there, receiving the checks amounting to 59 million Kenya shillings for them, of course, by the Deputy President William Ruto. All right, at this point now, let's take a short commercial break, but don't go too far. Coming back, we'll be discussing the state of food security in the country. I will be speaking to Dr. James Nyoro. He is a food security expert. Remember, from the State of the Nation address, one thing was missing, the drought situation that is currently ravaging Kenya and the mitigating measures. Don't go too far. This is KTN News Desk.